Genesis 8, 13, and 14. Genesis 8, 13 through 14. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and took, and behold, the face of the ground was dried. In the second month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, the earth was dry. You know, sometimes we think things are the one way. Noah thought the earth was dry because he saw it was dry. But it was only what Noah could see was dry. God knew there was still wetness on the ground elsewhere. There was still resident water elsewhere. We got to trust in Him, because He can see beyond what we can. 1 Samuel 2:17, 2:10 through 3:10 through 16. 1 Samuel 3:10 through 16. If I can add there. Okay, 1 Samuel 3:10 through 16. And the Lord came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for your servant hears. You know, the Lord came and stood. I don't think this is like a visual. I think this is like His presence stood in one place. Because otherwise Samuel would have saw Him. Surely Samuel would have saw Him if he was there to be seen. Sometimes we gotta listen to God, even though we're not gonna see Him. We gotta still listen for His voice to call out. Samuel had to be able to listen, be able to hear what the Lord says. So many times we're too busy talking and too busy doing other things, we can't just stop to listen to what the Lord says. Verse 11. And the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both ears of everyone who hears will tingle. You know, God told Samuel what He was going to do. Because Samuel was being willing to be listened, Samuel heard what the Lord said. Oftentimes we try to listen to what the Lord says, and we only get the part we want because we're not truly listening. Sometimes the Lord doesn't always give good news. Here with Samuel, He gives bad news. But it's the Lord's will, so it's always good. Both ears of everyone who hears tingle. You know, to be given news like that just makes your body shudder and shake. It's shocking, to say the least. It just takes your breath away type news. That's what was going to be happening. In that day, I'll perform against Eli all the things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end. You know, Eli's sons were priests, not following after God. Eli was their authority. Eli should have removed them from being priests. Even though that they were Levites, he should have put them away. He didn't. By doing so, he put his sons before the relationship he had with the Lord, before his service to the Lord was his sons. Now, if he would have put the Lord first, maybe his sons would have turned out differently. Better. But he made idols of his sons. So his sons see that, and they go after idols of their own. And the Lord says He's going to put a stop to that. The service to the Lord needs to be pure. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity he knows, because his sons made themselves vile, and he did not restrain them. See, this in itself shows that God is saying Eli had authority over them. Because God said Eli had authority over them, Eli had authority over them to do something. Otherwise, God wouldn't criticize Eli for something he couldn't do. He don't criticize Samuel for Eli's sons, because Samuel had no part in it. Samuel does what the Lord tells him to. Eli had a part in it. And therefore I have sworn to the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. So God's not willing to forgive them. God's going to deal with them. Their judgment's already written. They've waited too long. They should have sought forgiveness earlier. It ain't at this point mattering what they're going to do. It's too late. A scary thought. It's too late for us to do anything. How scary is that? The fact is, Eli's sons wouldn't have cared, because they didn't care about the word of the Lord. Otherwise, they would have followed him and been good priests. And Samuel lay until morning and opened the doors of the house of the Lord. And Samuel feared to show Eli the vision. Samuel knew Eli would be upset. Samuel knew that would hurt Eli. But Samuel also knew it was the word of the Lord, and it was true. Samuel knew, regardless of whether he shared it with Eli or not, it was going to come to pass because of the word of the Lord. You know, whether things seem good to us, or seem like they're going to hurt people. God's judgment will hurt a lot of people. The only thing we can do to spare them from judgment is to tell them of Christ and His good news. But there'll come a time where they run out of their opportunities, as Eli did.